This is a story about Mozambique's continuing struggle for independence. But it's not about war. It's about a project in international cooperation. One small step on a very long road. And it's about something most North Americans take for granted and would probably rather not think about at all. What is at best a painful duty to most of us is a rare privilege in Mozambique. In 1975, when the Portuguese left their former colony, one of the things they took with them was every dental worker in the country.
In 1975, the situation was very critical. All dental doctors, they left. There were no dental therapists yet in Mozambique. All they left. So we had to start in the beginning.
From a few abandoned clinics and assorted bits of worn-out equipment, Mozambique had to build a dental health program to serve 13 million people. And they had to do it while fighting for their very survival. Almost from the moment it gained its formal independence from Portugal, Mozambique has been at war against a terrorist guerrilla army of mercenaries and former colonial soldiers supplied and supported by South Africa, Mozambique's southern neighbor. As well as war, Mozambique must struggle against appalling underdevelopment and a series of droughts and natural disasters that have led to this country being called the most unfortunate in the world. To try and build a dental program under conditions like these is an almost overwhelming task. Yet without healthcare, education, and other basic necessities, what is there for people to fight for? What will they have when the war is won? The foundations for a dental health system were laid immediately following independence. Doctors and dentists came from many nations, including Canada, to help provide urgent care and to train Mozambicans. This did a lot to alleviate immediate problems and provide care for those who could get to the larger towns. But 80% of Mozambicans live in the countryside, far from towns and cities, and they've never seen a dentist. A national dental plan will serve these people, and it will require a new kind of dental worker.
What I need is dental health workers. They can go to the rural areas. They can go for the place has never been dental health care to meet the needs, to identify what's the problem, and to solve the problem. So, to do that, we need to training people.
The answer to that need was to be found halfway around the world in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. At the National School of Dental Therapy in Prince Albert, students take a 2-year course in basic dentistry skills, and they learn the specialized techniques of delivering dental care in remote areas. The course is intended to fill the needs of Canada's northern settlements, but much of what is taught here applies equally well to conditions in rural Mozambique. Therapists trained here would be just what Antonio Tanda was looking for.
Canada offer to assist, to help. They give the resources available, they give it money. So we said, okay, we start the program.
In the decades since independence, Mozambique has managed to train and put into the field about 80 dental therapists. The most experienced of these would be sent to Canada to learn how to set up dental services in remote rural areas. Ultimately, 7 were selected for the first 1-year course. They began with basic English instruction from a Canadian CUSA worker in Maputo.
And you say, how much does this cost? Or how much is this? Then I will tell you, and then you will pay me. Okay?
None of these men is going to Canada as a volunteer. And while they accept that it's their duty to go, they're not necessarily enthusiastic about it. Take, for example, this man, Georges Joao. Like most people who work in Maputo, Georges doesn't live in the high-rise inner city with its paved roads and running water. He lives with his family in one of the many bairros or suburbs that surround it. Here water doesn't run, it's carried, like almost everything else, on the heads of women, in this case Georges' sister. Georges was born in the country and went to school for the first time when he was 13. 6 years later, he was taken out of school to be trained as a dental therapist. Now at 25, he studies at night, still trying to complete his high school. On good days, Georges' family will eat one adequate meal. On bad days, they get by on bread and tea. For Georges, going to Canada means interrupting his studies again. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to leave his family. He can't speak English and he's never seen snow. All in all, the prospect of Canada terrifies him. In Prince Albert, the Mozambicans will board with Canadian families. Georges will stay in the home of Diane and George Deleuze and their son Jay.
Stuff in the bedroom?
You know his name, George.
George, Diane. Hi. Hello. My husband, George. Oh, and Jay. Jay. Jay.
Thank you.
Oh, Fred's sleeping.
Oh, we can
you're
even
kidding.
sit it.
Sure. If you want to just put your stuff, just put it all down here. Okay. You have
See you tomorrow, George.
Yes,
See you tomorrow.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Have fun.
Bye.
Okay. Want to come in? Sit down?
Sit down, sure.
Here.
You look at my cat. See?
Just sit there. Okay.
Look at my cat.
And that's
That's
Fred.
Fred, yep.
Yeah, Fred.
Okay, you put Fred back so
Let's see.
you have
Okay.
no sleep. Must be not mad you left him over there by himself.
So do you start school tomorrow?
Forgot to ask him.
Tomorrow, I begin in the student English language. Yeah.
Wow.
I wonder what time. What time do you go to school tomorrow morning?
I time at 9.
At 9. Oh, okay. That's good. George got a phone call today. One of his friends phoned.
Oh, that's nice. They know how to get a hold of one another already.
Which one phoned you? Who phoned for you?
Telephone?
Telephone. Who phoned for you? He doesn't understand. Okay. You talked on the telephone? On the telephone right there.
Ah, see.
And who phoned?
Yeah, my friend. My friend.
That's good. Great.
Tell us why you're using a rubber dam.
The teeth are parallel to the floor. So we'll ask the patient to open wide, and when you set the film in the mouth, put it in sideways, first of all, and then roll
For the
it.
first 6 months of the course,
Okay.
they
If
alternate
you try
between
going
clinical
straight,
classes that are the same for all students, and specially designed classroom sessions where they learn how to go about setting up a dental health program in the remote provinces of rural Mozambique.
For your learning and
in these sessions, they have to wrestle with both new ideas and a new language.
In our program, we must work about the rural population. We have some difference in the developing country and developing country.
At times, the difficulties are overwhelming. The language, the food, the climate, the homesickness. But sticking it out is their contribution to Mozambique's struggle.
No problem.
It's not necessary to be there. No. It's okay. You look very nice.
Where is my gun?
Ele está grande, até parece que é um homem magro.
A photo exhibition at the library prepares them for the next stage of the course. 6 weeks practical experience in the Arctic. They bring to it a certain professional point of view.
She doesn't have a teeth. She's old.
Oh, yeah?
Each therapist is given his own portable dental kit, which will travel with him. The kit was designed at the school for use in the Arctic, where parts and technicians are almost as hard to come by as they are in Mozambique. Everything a dentist needs is here, from drills and supplies to a folding patient's chair, and it's all designed to be repaired and maintained by the therapist. The kit costs about $9,000, and each of the Mozambicans will take one back with him, a gift from Canada. Presto! 2 complete dental kits in 6 portable cases. On a February day in Mozambique, the temperature runs around plus 36 degrees Celsius. In the Inuit settlement of Sanakilowak on Hudson Bay, it's about minus 36. But for 2 of the Mozambicans, this will be home for the next 6 weeks. The Prince Albert course is designed to train Canadians to work in the Arctic. So it is to the Arctic that students, including Mozambicans, are sent to get practical experience. David Matsinye and Miguel Tomash will spend their time here under a dentist's supervision, attending to the community's dental needs and doing a survey of its oral health problems. First order of business is to attend a meeting of the community elders to explain a bit about themselves.
I and Miguel were from Africa, in Mozambique. And we came in Canada to study more about dentistry. Mozambique was colonized by Portuguese about 500 years. And then in 1975, we got our independence.
Their hosts respond with some traditional Inuit throat singing.
This is your mask, right? So this is a brush, toothbrush. So you have to do like that, you know, go like that, you know, here too. Okay?
Yeah.
Sanakilawak gives David and Miguel a chance to put into practice some of the techniques they've been learning in Prince Albert. No one has ever done a thorough survey of oral health problems in this community, so both they and Sanakilawak gain something from their stay here.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
Not bad.
It's nice outside.
How come it's cold here, eh?
Not too bad today.
Not too bad?
No.
Oh, it's bad.
It's bad
too
for us.
bad for us, you know.
We never been in weather like that. But I was safe weather.
The health of teeth depends on many factors. So David and Miguel do home visits to find out as much as they can about living conditions in the community. They discover it isn't as easy as the textbooks make it sound.
What kind of thing do you do here?
Okay.
So the first one is we want to know what do you think the major needs of people living in this community.
The what needs?
Major needs.
The major needs. In this community.
What's the principal needs?
The main needs.
Main needs.
I really don't know.
Oh. So.
By the time they get back from the Arctic, their confidence and their competence have increased to the point where they can begin to teach others the skills they've learned, something they'll be expected to do regularly when they get back home.
And then we put it plastic tooth.
Just on the tooth that you're working on.
The return of summer finds them all greatly changed from a year ago. They have come to terms with Canada.
Downtown. Oh, at the gym downtown?
Yeah.
Hard?
Yeah, first time was hard.
Canada has been good to Georges Joao. Now, very soon, he and the others will have to face returning to their own country. This may turn out to be the biggest test of the whole adventure. Inevitably, the re-immersion in Mozambique comes as a shock.
In Mozambique, there must be a time for readaptation. They back again, same problems, housing, transport. We have problems to find food, problems, for instance, with the war, the bandits, from South Africa. All these problems together, they put them little depressed, so they need time to readapt in their own society.
The plan is that each of the returned students will go out to a provincial town to set up a local dental program. Long discussions are held with their Canadian advisor on how to apply their new techniques in Mozambique.
As you know, we have some problem with the transportation, so if you want to...
It becomes clear that the Canadian training was just the first step in a long process. There are still many obstacles to overcome, and not all of them are due to the war and shortages. From the Portuguese, Mozambique inherited a bureaucracy that would give Franz Kafka nightmares. This is the Health Equipment Import Office, and even though he works for the Health Department, David Matsine will have to reason, argue and plead for 4 months just to get their Canadian dental kits through the fine mesh of Mozambique's import regulations.
Então, agradecíamos, por exemplo, que dentro dos seus esforços, se pudesse, pelo menos, tirar as coisas.
And it's the same story trying to find transport, accommodation and every other necessity.
Nós estamos livres a qualquer momento para ajudar. Se você precisa de homens para carregar, nós estamos prontos.
But they knew all this before they left. And they know that if anything is to change, it is people like them who will have to change it, out here in the countryside, where life is the hardest. And change is already beginning. Here, in the little town of Bagamoyo, a small piece of history is being made. A group of children who have never seen a dentist in their lives are getting their first oral examinations. It's nothing fancy, a simple statistical assessment, as they were taught to do in Canada. And when they finish here, Miguel, Tomas and Daoud Sultana will only know what the problems are in one small school in one small town. But it will be one school and one town more than they knew about last week. The tiny beginnings of a picture that will one day form the basis for a national oral health plan made in Mozambique by Mozambicans.
We want to become self-sufficient. We want to have our all facilities in Mozambique, our doctors, our dental therapists, to be training in local situation. But this is not only in oral health. That's the general policy for all countries to become independent, to have our technicians, our engineer, our all infrastructure, because we have independence, the objective that to be self-sufficient.
With a great deal of effort from the people of Mozambique and a little goodwill and assistance from countries like Canada, these children just might see their parents' dream of independence become a reality.